everyone, it is great to see you here once again on Dee's Delights. Today we are going to be making apple baked stuffed pork chops. What you're going to want to do to make sure your pork chops are tender is you're going to want to soak them in some warm water, salt, and apple juice 2 to 12 hours in advance. You're also going to want to use fresh pork chops, not frozen. So I'm only going to do 2, but this recipe is for 4. I personally just don't think pork chops reheat well. I mean, everybody may do it differently than me, but I like to eat mine the first time around. So I'm going to use 2. You can go ahead and you can buy these pork chops with the pocket already in it, or if you want to create your own pocket, you're going to need pork chops probably a little over an inch, inch and a quarter thick, and then just cut your pocket and leave 3 sides. There you go. So we can put our stuffing in there. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and mix water, 2 cups of warm water, and 1/4 cup of salt. I'm going to mix that around a little bit. And then we are going to put 3/4 cups of apple juice. Mix that around once again. So we are going to brine the pork chops. Let them soak in there. I'll probably let them soak in there for about 2 to 3 hours, but you can do it up to 12. So off into the fridge it goes for about 2 to 3 hours. Then I will remove them 30 minutes before I want to bake them. So what you're going to do first is preheat the oven to 425 degrees, set out a baking sheet lined with parchment paper, and set a large skillet on a stovetop. Here's the skillet. What we're going to do is brush the pork chops with Dijon mustard and sprinkle generously with salt and pepper on both sides. So for the pork chops, you're going to need 4 boneless pork chops about 1.5 inches thick. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of butter, 1 tablespoon Dijon mustard, salt and pepper. So let's get our 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. And then what we're going to do is just spread that on the pork chops. Of course, there again, put as much as you want on. So first, brush your pork chops with the mustard. And then I'm going to sprinkle a little salt and pepper. Flip them on the other side. And you would be doing 4. I'm only doing 2. Now I used a whole tablespoon, so if you need a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, use what you want. Alrighty. Then it says add 2 tablespoons of butter to the skillet and turn the heat to medium. I already have my heat to medium, so I'm not waiting for it to heat up. So in goes 2 tablespoons. Once the butter is melted, place the pork chops in the skillet and brown 2 to 3 minutes per side.
You recording?
Yes, I am.
Hi, everybody. We're having pork chops.
Pork chops.
Again.
This is my husband, Douglas. Hey, just so you know, my father loved those pork chops. He loved them. He raved about them.
He's been sick, though.
He has been.
I mean,
but that's why I take him the food. He's not been feeling good, so.
he's not in his right mind.
Yeah. No, he's mentally fine. Alrighty. So what we're going to do is brown the pork chops 2 to 3 minutes per side, and then we're going to move the seared pork chops to the prepared baking sheet, which I already have right here. So let's put them in. In the meantime, get your stuff ready for the cornbread stuffing. You're going to need 4 tablespoons of butter, 1/3 cup chopped onions, 1/3 cup chopped celery, 1 firm apple peeled, cored, and diced, 1 tablespoon fresh chopped sage, I don't have that, 1/2 cup chicken broth, 2 tablespoons bourbon, I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, and then 1.5 cups of dried cornbread stuffing crumbs. I've never used those, so what I did was I had in my cabinet was a Jiffy corn muffin mix. I baked that according to the directions. I let it cool. Then I crumbled it into crumbs. Then I put the crumbs on a cookie sheet, put them back in the oven at 250 degrees for about 30 minutes. And that dried them out. So I have them here. They're dried out. That's what I'm gonna use, and I hope it turns out okay. And I already prepped up my apples, have them peeled, cored, cut. I already prepped up my onions and my celery. I didn't have any chicken broth, so for the 1/2 cup chicken broth, I used a 1/2 cup of water and a 1/2 teaspoon of chicken bouillon granules. So of course this is not going to cook the pork chops, we're just searing the pork chops, then we're gonna bake them, stuffed. I have to be honest, I have never made stuffed pork chops because I am not good with pork chops. I can remember growing up, the only type of pork chops I was exposed to was shake and bake pork chops thrown in the oven. Yeah. Now keep the skillet warm because we're gonna go ahead and make the stuffing on top of this same skillet. We're gonna set the pork chops aside on our baking sheet. So in the same skillet to make stuffing, add 4 tablespoons of butter. Once butter is melted, we're gonna add the rest of the stuff here. So let's get our butter melted. Okay, let's add our onions, our celery, our apples. And then if you have sage, go ahead and put that in. That would be 1 tablespoon. And we're gonna saute these for 3 to 5 minutes. I'm just gonna say more like 5 minutes, and I'm gonna turn it up a little bit. We are going to add in the chicken broth and the bourbon. I don't have bourbon, so I'm going to be using vanilla. So that's a 1/2 cup of chicken broth and either 2 tablespoons of bourbon or 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. Then we'll go ahead and mix in our breadcrumbs, mix well, then turn off the heat. It smells good. The vanilla and the cornbread. Okay, turn off the heat. We're gonna use a spoon to stuff the pork chops with the apple stuffing. Press it down in the pocket of each pork chop, then press more on top. Okay, let me find the pocket here. I'm gonna go ahead and stuff this. They said you can also put some on top. So save some for on top. You can also, if you want, let them sit up. I don't know if they'll stay up like that. Mine probably won't. So I'm gonna lay mine to the side. Okay, so I'm gonna press it on top. Next it says bake 10 to 12 minutes. We'll see about that. Or until it is 160 degrees at the thickest part of the pork chop. I think you can get away with 145. Now if you feel more comfortable with 160, that's fine. But I'll check it here. I am not sure if that's gonna be enough time. They're pretty thick, but we'll see. So into the oven it goes at 425. We'll start it at about 10 minutes. All right. Mine took about 15 minutes to get to 145. I'm gonna let those rest for about 5 minutes. And then Doug and I are gonna dig in. Okay, the pork chops have been sitting for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna cut right down the center because I'm probably only gonna have half of one. Get a little stuffing, a little bit of the pork chop. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not tough. So yeah, I could recommend this. Yeah, if you just cut back on the cook time a little bit. I like it, but you can't taste it, Doug. So thanks for joining me here once again on Dee's Delights, and I hope you have a fabulous week, everyone. See you soon.